The ground was quiet now. Not peaceful, just quiet. The kind of silence that follows after everything has been destroyed. Thyra lay on her back, her head tilted slightly toward the sky above. Smoke and dust blocked most of it, but she could still see a faint line of stars. Her breathing was slow and weak. Her vision flickered like a dying flame. But she was still alive. She didn't want to be. The pain was unbearable. Her arms were gone, torn from her body in the last few minutes of battle. She had been surrounded by machines, enemy drones, fast and cold and deadly. Her squad had been killed one by one. And when the last explosion threw her across the rocks, her world had gone black. Now she waited for death. She had fought well. She had no regrets. She was a warrior. But death did not come. Instead, something strange happened. A sound in the distance, not the scream of drones, not the blast of weapons. It was engines. A low humming sound, soft at first, then closer. A ship? She tried to open her eyes wider, but everything hurt. Her body didn't respond. She wanted to say something, to shout, to warn, or maybe just to ask for help, but no words came. She heard the ship land. Metal touched down softly on the broken ground. Then footsteps. Not heavy, careful, light. A voice spoke, deep and calm. "Hey, what the hell happened? Here?" It wasn't her language, but her helmet had an auto-translator still working. Barely. The words echoed in her ear. "Anyone alive?" She tried to move. A whisper of sound escaped her mouth, but it was too faint. The footsteps stopped near her. A pause, a sharp breath, then another voice, lower now, close. "Oh no, you poor thing." She felt hands lift her gently. Warm hands. Alive. "Don't worry, I've got you." Cole had never seen anything like it. The battlefield looked like a graveyard. Broken machines, shattered rocks, scorched soil. Whatever had happened here, it had been brutal. He had only come because of a strange energy reading. Command told him to ignore it. It wasn't human territory, but something about it bothered him. Something felt wrong. Now, looking down at the alien in his arms, he was sure of it. She wasn't just a soldier. She was someone who had fought until her last breath. Her body was covered in burns and wounds. Her arms were gone. But she was alive. Barely. "Don't die," he whispered, carrying her back to his dropship. "You've already made it this far. Don't die now." The alien was light in his arms, but not small. Her armor was heavy, cracked and stained with black blood. She had strange markings on her forehead and a breathing mask over her mouth. Pale blue skin, definitely not human, but beautiful in a wild way. Inside the dropship, Cole laid her gently on a medical bed. He activated the auto-med system. The scanner hummed as it read her vitals. Severe trauma, internal bleeding, neural link damaged, limb loss, both upper. He cursed under his breath. "You're tough, I'll give you that." He didn't know her name. Didn't even know if she'd survive. But he couldn't leave her here. The med system worked fast. Stabilizers entered her bloodstream. A cooling gel covered her burns. Artificial blood filled the tubes. Her breathing slowed, but it became stronger. She was still unconscious, but alive. Cole sat down beside her. Just watched for a while. "Why were you even here?" he asked quietly. She didn't answer, of course, but in the silence it felt like she didn't need to. Thyra dreamed. In her dream she saw fire, the faces of her squad, her commander shouting her name, the sound of her own roar as she charged into the enemy, then nothing, only darkness and warmth. Strange. She didn't expect warmth. Her people believed in honor in death. A warrior should die alone if they failed. She had accepted that. She had closed her eyes. She had felt the end. But this was different. She felt something pressing against her skin. Soft, smooth, breathing. Not hers. Another heartbeat. Close, Her eyes opened slowly. She was no longer on the battlefield. The room was metal and white, clean. Bright lights hummed above her. Beside her sat a figure. A human. He wasn't wearing armor, just a pilot's uniform. There was a small patch on his sleeve that read, Cole. He turned, surprised to see her awake. "Hey," he said gently. "You're up." She tried to move her hands, only to remember. There were no hands. Panic struck her. Her breath caught. She thrashed, then cried out in pain. Cole stood quickly, putting his hands up. "Easy. Easy. You're safe now." Her breathing was fast, wild. Her heart raced. He stepped closer. "I found you on the surface. You were dying. I brought you here. I didn't know if you'd make it." Thyra stared at him. Her body ached. Her pride burned. Why? Why would a human do this? They were not enemies exactly, but they were not allies either. Her people didn't trust humans. Too emotional, too unpredictable. Yet this one had saved her. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "Why?" He tilted his head, almost smiling. "Because you're still breathing," he said, "and that's good enough for me." Thyra sat in silence, her body strapped gently to the bed to keep her from falling. Her eyes, sharp and dark, followed every movement around her. Though weak, she was alert now. Cole moved around the small medical bay, tapping buttons on a screen, checking stats, adjusting tubes. He didn't speak much, but he stayed close, always checking on her. She didn't know what to make of him. No one from her world would have done this. Her people valued strength above all. The weak were left behind. If you couldn't fight, you didn't deserve to return. She had accepted that truth. She had been ready to die. But this human had not let her. He noticed her eyes on him and gave a small nod. "Pain?" he asked. She blinked once. A slow, stiff nod. "Okay." He pressed a small button. "Mild dose of pain relief. Won't knock you out." She didn't understand why he spoke so gently. His face was rough, scars along his jaw, a tiredness in his eyes. He was clearly a soldier, but there was no coldness in him. "Do you understand me?" he asked after a moment. She hesitated, then answered slowly. Her voice was hoarse. "Translator. Working. Weak." He smiled. "That's fine. We'll talk slowly." Thyra glanced at her sides. The bed was clean, and her arms gone. In their place were bandaged stumps wrapped with shining silver cloth. The pain had faded a little, but the weight of loss was still heavy. "What did you do to me?" she asked. Cole leaned forward, calm and clear. "I stopped the bleeding, gave you blood, kept you alive, that's all." She frowned. "Why?" "Because someone needed to." She turned her head away. "You are human. I am not." "That's true," he said softly. "But I'm also a pilot. I don't fly away from people who need help. Doesn't matter what species you are." That answer left her quiet. Over the next 2 days, Thyra remained mostly silent, but Cole didn't mind. He brought her food, soft liquid packs her body could digest. He played low music when the silence felt too heavy. He even tried showing her some basic human videos on his tablet. Scenes of nature, stars, animals. She didn't react much. But once, when he showed a video of a wolf protecting its injured mate, she tilted her head slightly. That was the most expression he had seen. He noticed. "You like that one?" he asked. "Reminded me of home," she said finally. "Wolves, you call them that?" He nodded. "They hunt in packs. Protect their own." Thyra closed her eyes. "My people value strength, but they forget the wounded are still part of the pack." He sat back in his chair. "That's a good way to put it." She looked at him again. "You are strange, human." He gave a small grin. "You're not the first to say that." On the third night, an alert flashed across Cole's console. Another ship had entered the atmosphere. Not human, not from the enemy faction either. The ID code was alien. Thyra recognized it instantly. "My people," she said. Cole frowned. "They're scanning the surface. They'll see my ship. Then go. Leave me." He stared at her. "What?" "If they find me here, they will think I betrayed them. No alien should be in a human craft. They will not understand. I'm not abandoning you. Then they will destroy your ship. Kill you. Or me. Or both." Cole walked over, his voice firm. "You were dying. I saved you. If they don't understand that, then I'll make them understand. You can't fight my people alone." He gave her a long, "Look, I'm not planning to fight anyone, but I don't leave friends behind." She stared at him. The word friend was not something she expected to hear. "You consider me a friend?" she asked. He shrugged. "Well, you haven't tried to kill me yet. That's a good start." Her lips twitched. It almost looked like a smile. The alien vessel circled low overhead. Cole opened a comm link and broadcasted a signal in multiple languages. "This is human pilot Cole Rains. I have rescued a wounded alien warrior. She is alive and stable. She is not a prisoner. I repeat, she is not a prisoner." There was silence for several minutes. Then a sharp voice replied, translated automatically. "Return our soldier. This is not your concern, human." Cole looked over at Thyra. She looked pale, eyes hard. "They'll want proof I'm not being held," she said. "Can you walk?" "No, but I can speak." Cole activated the camera. "Go ahead." Thyra lifted her head. Her voice was slow but clear. "I am warrior Thyra of the 7th clan. This human saved my life. He is not our enemy. I owe him no debt. He owes me none. Do not harm him." There was a pause. Then the voice returned. "We will retrieve her shortly. Remain where you are." Cole turned to her. "Do you want to go?" Thyra didn't answer right away. Finally she said, "I need to, it's my duty, but..." He waited. "This ship feels more like home than any command tent I've known." Cole didn't know what to say to that. So he just sat with her, quiet. 2 hours later, the alien shuttle arrived. It hovered just outside the clearing. A group of armored aliens came forward, tall, armed, and serious. Their leader looked at Thyra, then at Cole. She stood, barely supported by medical braces. Her voice was steady. "This human saved me. You will not harm him. I leave by my choice." The leader gave a short nod. As they helped her walk toward the shuttle, she turned one last time to look at Cole. "You showed me mercy," she said. "And you showed me courage," he replied. Then she was gone. Cole stood alone for a while, staring at the sky where the shuttle disappeared. A part of him felt empty, but he smiled anyway. Because sometimes saving someone means more than winning a war. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of their story. The days passed slowly. Cole kept flying missions, but his thoughts were often somewhere else, on the wounded alien warrior he had rescued. He didn't know if she was safe or even alive. After the shuttle took her away, there was no word, no signal, no thanks. But he hadn't done it for thanks. He had done it because it was the right thing to do. Still, sometimes at night he found himself replaying her voice in his head, the way she said his name, the way she stood, proud but broken, refusing to let pain show. And then, unexpectedly, she returned. It was nearly 2 weeks later. Cole had just landed his ship at a human outpost near the edge of neutral space. He was refueling when his comm link beeped with a private signal, encrypted, unknown source. He opened it, thinking it was a routine message, but it wasn't. A calm, deep voice said, "You are requested at Orbit Station Varnak. A patient wishes to see you." Coordinates attached, he frowned. Who's the patient? The voice replied simply, one who remembers your kindness. That was all Cole needed to hear. The orbit station looked like a long silver needle floating in the dark sky. It was clean, quiet, and half run by alien tech, neutral territory. Both humans and other species came here for peace, trade, or recovery. Inside, a guide led Cole down a quiet hallway. Metal floors, blue lights, the soft hum of machines all around. Then they stopped at a door. She's inside, the guide said, then walked away. Cole entered. The room was warm, clean. There were soft lights along the walls, and in the center, on a cushioned seat by the window, sat Thyra. She turned when he entered. He froze. Her arms were back. Not her real ones, but sleek, beautiful, mechanical ones, crafted from silver and black metal, shaped to match her old body. They moved as smoothly as real limbs. Hey, he said softly. She nodded once. You came. Of course I did. Thyra stood slowly. She walked to him with steady legs. Stronger now. Balanced. Her face showed no fear. You look good, Cole said with a smile. Better than last time. She raised her new arm and flexed the fingers. The prosthetics are from both our worlds, human tech and alien design. I would not have lived long enough to receive them if not for you. He shrugged. You would have done the same. She tilted her head. No, I would not have. Not before I met you. They sat near the window, where stars floated silently outside. Thyra spoke slowly at first. She told him that her people had doubted her story at first. They questioned her loyalty, even thought she was a spy. But when they studied the data from her suit and the medical reports from Cole's ship, they understood. She hadn't betrayed them. She had been saved. Still, they didn't welcome her back easily. I was changed, she said. Not just in body, but in mind. I saw how your people care for others, even strangers, even enemies. Cole nodded. Not all humans are good, but we try. She looked at her hands. My clan wants me to fight again. They believe I am stronger now. Are you going to? Thyra didn't answer right away. I don't know. I can fight, yes. But part of me wonders what else I can be. He smiled. Maybe more than a warrior. Maybe. Later, she showed him how her new arms worked. She held a heavy metal bar and bent it in half without effort. Strength upgrade, she said, calmly. Then she picked up a fine glass sculpture, a butterfly, and balanced it perfectly on her fingers. Precision upgrade. Cole laughed. Okay, you're officially cooler than me. She stared at him. Cooler? He chuckled. It means impressive. I see, she said, nodding slowly. Then yes, I am cooler. For the first time, he saw something different in her. Not just pride, but joy, even if just a little. As night came over the station, they stood near the large window looking out at the stars. Do you ever wonder, she said, why we were taught to hate each other? Sometimes, Cole replied. But I think it's easier to fear what we don't understand. She nodded. I understand you better now. He looked at her. And I understand you. You're not just a soldier. You're someone who survived when you weren't supposed to. You learned. You changed. That takes more strength than battle. She turned to face him. Would you fly with me? Cole raised an eyebrow. Now? Not for war. For peace. I want to visit the edge of the Trinari Belt. There's a world there. Quiet, green, full of sky and water. I've always wanted to see it. He thought for a second, then smiled. I'd be honored. 2 days later, they took off in a ship made for both of them. Twin pilot controls. Alien design on one side, human on the other. As the engines roared to life, Thyra took the left controls, Cole the right. Together, they lifted off into the stars. She looked at him once more. Thank you, she said. For what? For giving me back my life, and showing me I could live it differently. Cole, looked ahead at the stars. Anytime. And with that, they flew into the unknown. Warrior and pilot, bound not by orders, but by trust. The stars moved silently outside the viewport as the ship glided through space. Inside, the quiet was comfortable. Cole and Thyra sat side by side, the hum of the engines filling the space between their words. Thyra flexed her new arms, marveling at the smoothness of each movement. The cybernetic limbs had become a part of her, not a burden. They were stronger than before, more precise. A tool for survival in a world that no longer seemed so cruel. "I can fight better now," she said, softly, "but I wonder if I should." Cole turned to her, his eyes kind. "Why not? You've been through so much, but you're still here. Maybe this is your chance to choose." She looked out at the endless stars. "Back home, my people expect me to return to battle. They say my new arms make me a weapon. They want me to be a leader in the war. And you?" Thyra hesitated. "I don't know if I want that. I am a warrior by birth, but my heart feels different now. I see things clearer. I want more than endless fighting." Cole smiled. "Maybe that's what makes you strong." The ship received a signal, a warning from a nearby human command post. "Enemy forces detected near your location," the message said. "Prepare for possible attack." Thyra stiffened. "My people." "They are close," Cole confirmed. The tension in the cabin grew thick. "You have to warn them," she said. "If you don't, many will die. I don't want to fight your war. But this is not just my war. It is all of ours. If they win, the whole region falls into chaos." Cole nodded slowly. "All right, we'll warn them, but I'm not looking for a fight." Thyra reached out with her metal hand, touching his arm. The cold metal against warm skin felt strange but comforting. "Thank you," she whispered. They set course toward the command post. The journey was tense. Both knew the dangers ahead, yet neither spoke much. When they arrived, alarms sounded. Cole contacted the base commander. "This is Pilot Cole Rains. I have an urgent warning. Enemy forces approach fast. They come from the 7th clan. I have with me warrior Thyra, who can confirm their movements." There was silence on the other end. Then a voice crackled. "Copy that. We are preparing defenses." Thyra glanced at Cole. "Will you stay and help?" He shook his head. "No, I'm just the messenger, but I'm glad you're here." Suddenly, a group of alien soldiers appeared outside the command post. They looked fierce. Their weapons were advanced. But they paused when Thyra stepped forward. "This is my clan," she said. "I am here to stop bloodshed." The leader of the group eyed her carefully. Then he spoke. "Why do you stand with humans, Thyra? Have you forgotten your people?" "I have not forgotten," she answered firmly. "But I have learned. War is not the only way." There was a long silence. Finally, the leader nodded. "Perhaps there is truth in your words." A ceasefire was declared. Cole and Thyra worked together to negotiate peace talks. For the first time in many cycles, enemies met not on the battlefield but at a table. It was slow and difficult, but progress was made. Thyra saw her new arms not just as weapons, but as symbols of change. She was no longer just a warrior. She was a bridge between two worlds. At the end of the day, Cole and Thyra stood outside the command post. Stars shone above. "You've done something incredible," Cole said. "Not many could have stopped a war like this." Thyra smiled softly. "I never thought I could. Sometimes strength is in the choice to stop fighting." She looked at him. "Thank you for saving my life, for giving me new arms, and for showing me a new way." Cole shrugged. "You did all the hard work." They stood together quietly, two warriors changed by hope. The future was uncertain, but for the first time it felt possible. The sky above was dark and endless, stars scattered like diamonds over the black canvas. The ship moved steadily through the void, carrying Cole and Thyra toward an uncertain future. For Thyra, the journey was more than physical. It was a journey of the heart and mind. Her new arms, strong and precise, felt like a second chance. But the weight of her choices pressed on her. Her clan expected her return. They expected her to lead the next battle, to fight without mercy. But Thyra had changed. When they reached the edge of the war zone, they received a message from her people. "We demand your return, warrior Thyra. Your place is with us." The voice was cold and commanding. She looked at Cole. "They want me back to fight," he nodded. "And what do you want?" She sighed. "I want peace. I want to stop the fighting." Cole smiled gently. "Then you have to show them how." Thyra requested a meeting with the leaders of her clan. She entered the great hall, a vast room filled with stern faces, weapons at their sides, eyes sharp and judging. "You have returned," the chief said, "but you carry the mark of humans. Your metal arms are a sign of betrayal." Thyra stood tall. "I carry these arms because I was saved by a human. They gave me life when death was near." The hall was silent. She continued, "Warriors, I have seen what endless fighting brings: pain, loss, and death. But I have also seen what trust and cooperation can build. I ask you to join me in ending this war." The council murmured among themselves. Some were angry, others were doubtful. The chief raised his hand for silence. "Your words are bold, but your actions will prove if you mean them." Thyra nodded. "I will prove it." Together with Cole and her people, Thyra organized a mission, not to fight but to rebuild. They repaired villages torn by battle, helped families displaced by war, and shared resources between factions. Slowly, walls of hatred began to crumble. 1. Evening after a long day of work, Thyra stood beside Cole on a hill overlooking a quiet valley. The sun set in colors of red and gold. "You changed more than your arms," Cole said. "You changed your world." She looked at him with a soft smile. "And you changed mine." They stood together in silence, knowing their bond was more than friendship. It was hope. But peace was fragile. News came that a new enemy fleet was approaching, a group who did not want the war to end. Thyra faced a choice: fight and defend what she had built, or run and hide as before. She clenched her metal fists. "I will fight," she said, "but not for war, for peace." The battle was fierce. Thyra fought beside Cole and the allied forces. Her new arms moved with strength and speed. She led with courage and wisdom. In the end, the enemy was pushed back. The victory was not just of weapons, but of will. After the battle, Thyra and Cole returned to the quiet hill. They looked at the stars, shining brighter than before. "Thank you," Thyra said softly, "for saving me when I was ready to die, for giving me arms, and for giving me hope." Cole smiled. "You never stopped fighting. You just found a better reason." She reached out her hand. "Will you stand with me?" He took it without hesitation. Together, the warrior who once closed her eyes to die, and the human pilot who saved her, looked toward the future, a future of peace, friendship, and new beginnings.